Blessings, 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 blessings be unto you. This is Mercedes Warwick, and welcome to the Mindfulness of Healing, an associate program of sacredkey.com. So this is part 2 of a video series that I'm doing, and as far as what to do and how to recognize when we've been triggered, because the triggering mechanism is subtle, and we may not even know that we've been triggered or we're in a reactionary state as opposed to a responsive state, and we're in our state of peace has been violated, and we're just living in a way that is stressful and reactionary, which could be very detrimental to being in the state of healing and homeostasis and neutrality and harmony and balance and all of those things I talk about here. I think it's very important that we have this conversation right now because there's so much stimulus happening in the world. And so to be in a conscious awareness of almost doing what I would consider to be spiritual hygiene, and maybe even taking a spiritual audit of oneself periodically throughout the month or the week or the day, depending on where you've been at. I've had days of this recently where I've just had to say, I don't understand why I'm feeling so off or uncertain, or I don't use the word fear frequently. I think it's one of my my blind spots. I don't say I'm scared of this or I'm afraid of that, or I don't use that language very often, but sometimes it just manifests in my body. And as I was talking about before, the sympathetic, the tigers are coming, has kicked in, and I haven't taken a moment to release it back into this parasympathetic natural state of just allowing the harmony of the body to function and flow as the body is divinely ordered to function and flow, right? So in the first video, I talked about some of the ways that I feel and some of the reactions that are present and how my body reacts and responds, and some of the triggers that have kind of pushed my buttons over the course of the last month. And as I'm feeling better too, that's the other thing. It's like now I've started to go out in the world and interact with people. I'm not in this sort of cocoon state, and as I'm re-emerging, I'm finding that I'm very sensitive. It's almost like when you've had your eyes closed or you've been in a dark space and then somebody flashes that bright light on you. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now on so many different levels, because I've been so involved in being in a state of evolution through the presence of cancer in my body. And I don't believe in a fight. I don't believe in the language of fight, that I'm a warrior and all this other language. I don't believe in that. You should know that while you're in this space. I believe that our body has an innate ability to heal, and that innate ability is activated through understanding the evolution of our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual space. It's an evolution. It's a discovery. It's a realignment and rebalancing. So, and it's an activation. It is an awareness and a consciousness of life and being and the aliveness. I really feel like when we're in this state of discernment and coming through the discomfort of the disease itself, that there is an opportunity for us to truly evolve into something that is so different that we would not have discovered had we not been in this space, something that we would discover about ourselves and learn and grow and open up, open into and open up to. Uh, just, it can be a wonder. It really can be a wonder. So, I am going to say a few things about the spiritual toolkit that I use when I figured out that I've been triggered, and it's a deeper thing. It's just a deeper. It does take some practice. It does take some conscious sitting, reflection, discernment, and action. Okay. So sometimes when I'm feeling off and I really don't know why I'm feeling off, and that's the one thing I don't, in general, I don't try to figure it out. I just recognize that I don't feel emotionally safe, or I feel like I'm fighting, those kinds of things. I try to change the atmosphere in my home. The other day I cleaned. What did I clean? I cleaned something. Oh, I started unpacking. I hadn't unpacked the boxes. I started unpacking boxes, and that was just more physical activity. And then I had gotten a notification that somebody had passed away, and I cleansed my house. So I saged my house. I have a wind chime that I take through my house, and I play the chimes all the way through. I actually have some quartz singing bowls that I can do. I gong. I just wanted the frequency and the vibration to move energy through my house, literally creating waves of sound that was different than the energy that was present before I started doing that. Sometimes the house can feel energetically heavy, and it's time to clean. In my case, it's usually energetic cleaning. I'm not very domestic, but so I go through the energetic cleansing, and I took a new bundle of sage, and I took it through my bedroom in particular, because when I went through 5 weeks of being in this deep chemo side effects, I was upstairs in my bedroom mostly, and I realized I hadn't really done a cleansing. And my dog's very sensitive, and I started noticing that she wasn't sitting in this one area of the house, of my bedroom, that she loves. She started sitting someplace else, and I said, you know what, the energy's stagnant in that space. And so I did a saging, and I did a wind chime, and then I did my gong. And I just wanted, literally, just, if sound is vibration, I just wanted a different sound going through the house. And since then, I've been playing. I have my water fountain going most of the time, and I have my Zen music going in the house. Music will change. It will change your frequencies, and that's the same reason why most of the time when we're sitting in contemplation, I do not use music. Just for the point of discussion, I don't use music because I want you to come into your internal rhythms and your own natural rhythms, and I don't want it to be influenced by the rhythms of the music. But the music will change. You could do a little bit of cha-cha, right? So music's always a good one. The other thing is I have wisdom keepers that I listen to on YouTube. YouTube is a fabulous source, and I listen to Muji, just so you know, and then I listen to Joel Goldsmith. He's a wisdom keeper from the early 40s and 50s. And I've just started listening to Richard Rohr, a Franciscan monk who is in New Mexico. He's now in his late 70s, I believe, and he, by his own admission, kind of slowing down in his life and his teachings, but there are wonderful recordings of him on YouTube, and I start listening because I want to either be reminded of a core central tenet of my practice and of my wisdom. And sometimes when I'm in the state of being triggered, I'm on the surface. I'm not going deeper into my heart. And the other day when I had been triggered in a particular way, I literally just had, I don't always even listen. I had two of them in my ear, and I'm going about my day, and sometimes at night I'll have them play, and I'll actually fall asleep and wake up at the exact, it happened last night, woke up at the exact right time when they were saying and reminding me of something that is a core tenet of my practice and of my lifestyle. So that happens. And then I sit in the compassionate presence. I consciously do a sitting, and that's partially, I'm going to take you through a partial sitting right now, but I sit, and I will tell you, I have a sacred sanctuary in my bedroom. There's a place in my bedroom that is specifically for going into, when I really want to go into a healing or a deeper prayer. A lot of times I'll just do it in the bed, and I will tell you, I'm sitting in the bed looking at the space, looking at that that mat. It's a mat. Looking at that mat, going, you need to get your butt on that mat, and I can feel the resistance. I can feel like, I don't know if it's because I want to hold on to the whatever's triggering, because the emotional response is something that is deeply reassuring on some not healthy way, but sometimes the comfort your comfort zone is just that which you know, and if that which you know is unhealthy, untrue, and not life sustaining, but it's the comfort zone, that's where you have lived for so long, sometimes you want to stay there, and so there is a point of resistance. That mat is literally, I don't even think it's 3 steps away from my bed, right? Maybe 4, to get on that mat and to sit. And there are times when I'm just looking at that mat, it's like, I don't want to get in that mat, because I don't want the truth that's going to bubble up, the wisdom key, I call it, the bubbling ups, I call it. Maybe I'm not ready to face that. I feel like I'm not ready to face it. I don't want to face it. I don't want to give up I know this, so I'm going to just stay in this uncomfortable, diseased state of mind because this is what I know. But the release of the unknown and the divine and the rebalancing and the opportunity to be in the state of all possibilities, to come into a space that I could not even conceive of sitting here in my conscious mind, in my ego mind, in the labels that I have given myself. I am this and I am that. Well, I might have to go on that mat and find out that I am actually more than this or that. I'm actually in the divine space, a conscious living child of the source, and conscious living energy that is as God, that the energy, spark, and frequency of the divine is within me, and there is a whole infinite wealth of possibilities that will allow me to literally become a new creation as I'm walking off that mat. But I'm not getting on that mat because that can be scary, right? And so a lot of times I'll just be sitting with like a little kid with my feet dangling off the side of the bed and trying to get them down on the ground to take the 3 steps to get to the mat. Okay, so and I will say this truly from my heart. I move from affirmation to confirmation when I get on that mat, because when I get on that mat, whatever wisdom comes through me on that mat is a confirmation of the divine speaking for me. The divine speaking for me, the divine seeing that which I cannot see for myself. And it is a very unique and intimate and personal relationship. And we could be going through the same thing. We could have 2 women going through stage 4 metastatic breast cancer with the same set of mets in the same places in the body, and we could sit and go into our compassionate presence and listen and breathe through that divine heart and hear through the divine ear and see through the divine eye, and we would come up with wisdom keys that are so special and precious and present for me, for her, for the next woman or man, because men can have breast cancer too, but for who, and that is why it's such a tenet in the things that I'm teaching right now, that I will not say this is the way to do it. I may say this is how I have entered into the gateway or the pathway to get to the space, to get to the wisdom key and that sacred key. But to get into that wisdom key, my own personal wisdom, my own personal connectiveness with divine source, you may go for a walk in the park. You may decide that you're going to wash dishes. This action is very, very stimulating, very, and then you do it with the other hand, make sure you get balanced out. It looks differently. Okay? And that should be honored within yourself and within your space. So, let's take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. This is a sigh of release. Just as I'm talking, just continue at your own rhythm and pace. There should not be any tension or any feeling of capacity or containment. So you're not trying to take the deepest breath in and then the longest exhalation out. This is literally your rhythm and your pace. And as we have been moving towards coming into the divine neutrality, the harmonic neutrality, we're not saying, oh God, please release me from the stress and strain. We're just being present to allow ourselves to release ourselves from the stress and strain. As I sit in the sigh of release, it is really an acknowledgement of I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know where. I'm just allowing myself to be present in this moment. This breath. And it is an act of devotion to be present in the sigh of release. It is a recognition of within myself there is the divine, and within the divine there are all things. And this breath just allows it's not a letting go, it's not a surrendering, it's just allowance of being in this moment, to being present in this breath. Every breath is an act of devotion. There are times when I've had side effects, the hot flashes or the neuropathy in my legs, got restless leg syndrome, or there's some pain moving through. Even my heart, as much as my body. And I will do this periodically throughout the night. I may do this as I'm consciously awake and eventually fall asleep and wake up again and just start. It's really funny, I'm getting emotional in this moment because I think it's a releasing myself into my innocence and my vulnerability. I don't have to have all the answers. You know, sometimes my belief is my body has the innate ability to heal itself, and it feels like it's not healing. It's not activated. But in so many ways that I cannot see or know. Energy is being put into motion just by myself saying, I'm going to love myself to be present in this moment. I'm going to allow. And I'm crying because I've actually heard the words, I love you. And the flowing of the tears becomes the flowing of the release itself. And there are times that things have bubbled up and I have to be in discernment and maybe to release those things, not to a higher power, but to release myself into the knowing that as I allow myself to be present, and I have actually heard, go talk to someone. They have wisdom for you. They have knowledge for you. They have a perspective for you. We so often want to come out of something, we're going to do it 5 times or 10 times or some prescribed amount, 36 times for 36 breaths. But in the space of the allowance and allowing yourself to just be in the sigh of it. Just this one breath can change your perspective as you open your eyes and know the time that you spent here is precious. It's a precious communion with yourself. Now going into remembering breath, which is just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. And sometimes when you want to take a pause, either through your meditation or doing something like the sigh of release, you can just go into the remembering breath, which is simply just remembering to breathe. And again, with no stress, no strain, staying within your physical capability. And I have instinctively and intuitively gone into remembering breath and just touched a part of my body, my thighs a lot of times, my heart. And if there's an area in my body, I've touched my neck, my jaw, my eyes, my ears, my stomach, my kidneys, because all of your body has a connection to an emotion or an energy. And this is the innateness, the intuitiveness that your body is a divine mechanism, a divine vehicle, and it knows. Times that these placements on the body are gentle and loving and graceful and merciful and peaceful. And then to reset your system back into divine balance and harmony, going into the parasympathetic, what just happens naturally, the innateness, the things you don't have to think about. You don't think about digesting your food or your lungs breathing, your heart beating. You want to reset from the sympathetic, which is in sympathy with your fear, your stress, in sympathy with the body saying, I've got to move out of this environment. So I'm going to send all of my energy to the arms and the legs and the things, the impulses that are going to make me move, react, be safe. We're going to go back into the safety of the known innateness called pace breathing. I'm going to breathe into the count of 4 or 2, depending on your, or 3, depending on your capacity. Breathing in to count of 4, the rhythm is important. Holding to the count of 4, exhaling to the count of 4, and holding to the count of 4. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Holding, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4. And holding, 2, 3, 4. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Holding, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4. And holding, 2, 3, 4. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Holding, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4. And holding, 2, 3, 4. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Holding, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4. And holding, 2, 3, 4. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Holding, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4. And holding, 2, 3, 4. Breathing in through the nose, back into remembering breath. And out through the nose. If you're feeling any tension, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, and the sigh of release. Your body will guide you. You stay in the sigh of release or remembering breath, and you'll feel something different. I call it the click on and the click off, but you'll feel I am complete, I am finished, I am done, I am loved. And just releasing, remembering breath, a sigh of release, and just being for a moment. And as you feel ready, slowly opening your eyes. You know, so much of my work now is about allowing people to experience a space of being, giving us a place to go, because I have experienced needing a place to be. I've experienced when all of my friends and family and loved ones have left, and I am laying in a hospital bed and feeling whatever I'm feeling. And as long as I have that inner space and that ability to be in communion with my divine heart and breathing into the compassionate presence and allowing the wisdom key to bubble up and come forward, I'm never alone. I'm just never, ever, ever alone. And it is a wonderful place to have and to understand and to release myself into just the innate rhythms, the natural rhythms that we are as a divine human, a divine being. Be in the world. We have to be in the world, but not to be of it. So I hope, it is my sincere wish that you've been blessed by this. Actually, my sincere prayer, I'm going to change that language. It is my prayer that as I'm got my notepad on my lap and I'm just putting the energy out into the world, that this is a blessing, and it is a prayer, and is a coming into, and it is a knowing, and it is the all-knowing. That which I may not know is present with me always. Namaste. May you know the divine intimately.